Imagine waking up in 2026 and realizing that the legendary names that built general aviation might not look the same anymore. Beechcraft, Piper, Cessna, the companies that trained us, carried our families, built our dreams, could be standing at a crossroads. Some may shrink, some may merge, and some may quietly fade into heritage status while new realities reshape the sky. Today, we take a brutally honest look at who is most vulnerable, why the pressure is building, and which brand might suffer the hardest blow. Stay with me. This might be uncomfortable, but it's a conversation aviation absolutely needs. Let's start with Cessna, the king of utility and the face of general aviation for decades. Cessna survived when others didn't because it built airplanes that worked, that trained pilots, that hauled families, that built businesses. But now Cessna isn't the pilot's brand anymore. It's a corporate brand under Textron, guided not by passion, but by spreadsheets. The Skyhawk and Skylane are still icons, but production is slow, prices are sky high, and innovation feels cautious rather than bold. Electric? Hybrid? Radical redesign? Not really. The risk for Cessna is stagnation, becoming a classic brand that still exists but no longer drives the industry forward. Could Cessna slowly transition from leader of GA into simply manufacturer of premium nostalgia? That's the danger. And here's where I want you to think with me. If student pilots can't afford Skyhawks anymore, who becomes the next generation of Cessna customers? Now Piper. Piper has always been about accessibility, practicality, and the all-American flying family. Cherokees, Archers, Saratogas, these weren't rich man's toys. These were working airplanes and pilot makers. Today, Piper feels trapped between legacy and modernization. The M-Class turboprops are fantastic, but extremely expensive. Their trainers are great, but again, price is climbing and operating costs are not friendly to new pilots or small schools. Piper's problem isn't passion. They still feel like an aviation company. Their problem is economic gravity. If training declines, Piper bleeds. If cost climbs, Piper narrows. If regulations toughen, Piper struggles. Piper doesn't have the corporate fuel that Textron has, and it doesn't have the exotic luxury image to escape upward like Cirrus. So Piper may suffer not because it failed, but because the ecosystem around it is collapsing. Think about that. What happens to Piper if fewer people learn to fly? And then we come to Beechcraft, once a symbol of prestige, performance, excellence, now a shadow of its own golden age. The Bonanza is still incredible. The Baron is still loved. But ask yourself, how many new Barons do you see rolling out? How many young pilots are dreaming of buying a Beechcraft instead of a Cirrus, a TBM, or something modern? Beechcraft risks becoming a heritage museum while the world moves on. Support costs, aging fleets, insane insurance premiums, they hurt Beechcraft owners more than most. And under Textron, Beechcraft is competing with Cessna for relevance inside the same house. That's dangerous. If cutbacks come, which brand survives? The cheaper one, the mass market one. That's not Beechcraft. Meanwhile, the whole market is shifting. Electric concepts are coming. Hybrid aviation is coming. Automation is coming. New composite aircraft manufacturers are coming. Governments are pushing environmental pressure. Airports are losing space. Hangars are expensive. Ownership is harder than ever. And legendary brands, instead of reinventing themselves aggressively, are largely defending the past. That's noble, but risky. Aviation history is full of giants that thought they were too legendary to fail. Many don't exist anymore. So here's the big uncomfortable question. By 2026, who suffers the most? The brand stuck in corporate stagnation? The brand tied to shrinking training? Or the brand that lives on nostalgia but runs out of economic oxygen? I want you to think deeply about this and argue with me in the comments. Which brand do you believe is most vulnerable? Which has the strongest future? Are legends disappearing or simply evolving into something we don't recognize yet? Let's talk about it, because the future of general aviation may depend on conversations exactly like this.